Looking good there, Mario. Nothing out of the ordinary at all. Super Mario Sunshine is definitely one of my favorite GameCube games, and it still seems to hold up today. Today we're going to explore some details you can only see if you take the camera out of bounds. Our first secret comes right when you get to the title screen. You move over here, you can see a dock that resembles the one found on Isle Delfino. Going on to the File Select screen, you can see that the Select Data menu actually moves with the camera. You can also see that the item blocks that serve as the game's save files aren't fully 3D, which makes sense given that we were never supposed to be able to look back here in the first place. That's working smarter, not harder. Finally, when you select a save file, the menu for what you want to do with the save file, as well as the total number of shine sprites you've collected, moves with the camera just like the Select Data menu. Now let's dive into the actual game. Right when you load a save, you can already see this wall of blue in Delfino Plaza if you just move the camera a bit. It only appears to stretch across this little area where Mario spawns, and it's not the last we'll see of it, but I couldn't tell you what purpose it's used for. If you move the camera to where the Yoshi egg is, you can see that only the thought bubble showing what kind of fruit Yoshi needs is there. You can see this bubble from when you first spawn in, so the developers probably figured that was enough to show to alert you of his presence. The panels are also missing from the areas where Mario can ground pound to go underground when he isn't near them. I'm not sure why, but it's always cool to see things we weren't intended to see. The entrance to everybody's favorite bonus level, Pachinko, actually doesn't have a hole at the top, just more ceiling. Maybe Mario just hits his head and has a hellish nightmare that has made many gamers rage. Now if you go into the boathouse, you can see that only the floor and roof are modeled and the raccoons aren't in here. Yes, according to the Mario Wiki, the dad isn't called a tanuki and is instead referred to as just a normal raccoon dad. In case anyone was curious, no, there isn't anything particularly interesting inside the giant shine sprite at the Shine Gate. What is interesting is that the water in front of Corona Mountain changes color to match the volcano and the grass, and even turns black as you move the camera. And for whatever reason, this hole actually has its manhole cover. Maybe it's just special. Moving up to the volcano summit, the sky turns black. We can also see that the back of the volcano isn't modeled, but the water still expands beyond it. The view of the plaza from behind the volcano is also a bit disorienting. We can also see some of the different levels from the plaza. And if we move closer, we can actually see some detail. Here we have Rico Harbor and Pinna Park, and for the first one, there's actually a lot of detail here. For the level that's farther away, Pinna Park doesn't show nearly as much. We can also see a not fully modeled building that appears to be the same one that Mario can access another bonus level from. The island that Pianta is stranded on also doesn't even show him or the tree he rests under. I guess that means he's a free man until Mario dares to trigger that draw distance. On to Bianco Hills. Again, you can see that blue wall right here when you spawn in if you move the camera slightly. I really wish I knew why this was here. If we visit our friend Petey Piranha and take the camera inside of his enormous head, you can see his teeth are modeled here in more detail than you see on the outside. Which isn't much of a surprise given that you can see him when he opens his mouth in the boss fights. But it's still interesting to see. If you take the camera over to the spot where Shadow Mario was shown when you enter Episode 1, Road to the Big Windmill, you can see that the big pile of goo that's supposed to be shooting balls of sludge is missing, and we instead see puffs of smoke that seem to represent a sludge ball being shot out. And just like in Delfino Plaza, from Bianco Hills we can see other levels in the game. Rico Harbor is right next to where Mario spawns, and we can see that this level has even more detail than what we see moving the camera over from the plaza. Speaking of the plaza, we can also see that from Bianco Hills, though in very little and blurry detail. Pinna Park appears to have slightly more detail than when viewed from the plaza, but there still isn't much to explore here. If you go into a level where this Pianta is covered in sludge and move the camera over to him, you can see that he isn't moving. I thought maybe this was just always done when Mario isn't near a character that needs to be rinsed off, but then I moved over here and found a Pianta who wasn't frozen. Maybe the one-up this guy gives to Mario has some magical power over him.